Alright guys, we're back using the 11th anniversary Dokkanfest Strength STR SSJ4 Daima Goku once again, all because your boy couldn't resist. Sometimes, when the summons are calling, you have no choice but to answer. That is why we're back using some of the best animations in the game right now. Literally a one-to-one to the Daima episode, which let me know down in the comments. A lot of people seem to be on the fence. Are you a fan of the animations? Are you not? Do you think they belong in an anniversary or not? But as you can see, SSJ4 Daima Goku is at now 69%. I did manage to pull the dupe. I also pulled a dupe in Vegeta as well. So it ended up working out for the best. He's also now level 10 links. We've got a little bit of additional on him. He's got his 5 crit from being a strength unit. But he's also got 6 dodge now as well. I don't think there's any wrong build when it comes to SSJ4 Goku. I mean, he mainly has a lot of crit built in. And a tiny bit of additional in his passive. So mainly dodge might be the priority. But you can go any which way when it does come to either using more crit, more additional, because he needs crit for his EX super attack anyway. So I don't think he really has a wrong build, if I'm being completely honest. Now, in terms of the rotation, we'll have Goma. The only reason why I'm going to put Goku in slot 2 is because if I put him in slot 1 and Vegeta super attacks in slot 1, he may stun him, which is just really jarring. So for the time being, I'm going to have him in slot 2. He is on a 1.1 million attack stat with 711k defense. Of course, because we did trigger the entrance animation, he does have 400% attack and defense. On top of the 400% attack and defense he starts with, and he's giving Daima category allies Ki +1, 23% defense, and 4% damage reduction, while giving both Daima or Goku's family category units that 40% attack and giving them attacks effective against all types. Of course, since Goku is not in slot 1, Goku will not have the extra 10% damage reduction before attacking, and he won't be giving out that extra 40% attack to all allies as well, because he's in slot 2. But because we are in slot 2 or slot 3, we do have a 40% crit chance for 5 turns, which if we do decide to move him into slot 1, he'll be holding on to that, which of course again is going to help us trigger his EX super attack, hopefully a little bit more consistently going forward, which of course we do definitely want. So at level 10 links with the links at level 10 and the dupe, shall I say, we're starting with a 57 mil attack stat on his standard 18 key. Remember, that is 100% attack raise and 30% defense, while with the all allies 40% attack buff. 42 million on the 12 key, which is very nice, with a 50% attack raise. But one thing this Goku is always going to be doing, and even at 55% was not an issue and was blatantly obvious was his thing to do, was deal a lot of damage with very high numbers while also having a good amount of built-in crit. So unfortunately, no crit happened this turn as the first super attack, so no EX super attack. However, over 50 mil on the 18 key and then over 40 mil on the 12 key is a pretty decent start, if I do say so myself. And one thing I noticed with this Goku at 55%, which I was a little bit concerned with, but at the same time I don't think is going to end up being an issue, was the fact that he did look a little fragile. Now, I have only actually used Goku once, well technically twice. I used him once in his showcase, and of course he was on the same team with Vegeta, both using him at 55%. So I've used SSJ4 Daima Goku twice at 55% in this same event. This is now the 3rd time I'm using him, this time of course with a dupe, but again in the same event. And he did very, very well at 55%, dealing a lot of damage, does a lot for the team. Key never really seemed to be an issue. I have seen a few people talk about on the timeline him having key issues. I've personally not experienced it, if I'm being completely honest. However, I do still think that potentially if you get really unlucky with orb placement, say a good string of orbs is kind of trapped behind you know, a couple of orbs at the front that isn't going to get Goku the ki he needs. I mean, you mainly want to aim for 24 ki, but having like out and out ki issues is not something that after using him twice and now like a turn on the third time using him, as I said, hasn't been an issue. But I think it still stands. If you get really unfortunate, like let's just say these tech orbs here were covering the strength orbs at the back, and this is all we could get maximum for Goku, and we wouldn't get an 18 ki. I've not experienced that. However, I do think if you got really, and I mean really, really, really unfortunate, where there was nothing you could do to get Goku his ki, because he gets a lot of ki in his passive, you know. Ki +4 per strength orb, ki +1 per non-strength ki orb obtained. But so far, I've not really found it to be a problem, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, even if we give Goma all of these strength orbs here, how are we looking for ki with Goku? I mean, here, yeah. I mean, again, I purposely kind of made it so Goku wouldn't get all the ki that would have given him 24 ki, or even just give him an 18 ki super attack. But again, unless you're getting very unlucky when it comes to orb placement, unless also as well, which I did for the sake of content, you're purposely not giving him the ki he needs, then that's the only times I've ever seen Goku have ki issues, if I'm being completely honest. But then again, this is the third time I'm using him. So maybe the more I use him, maybe that may change. Maybe the ki issues may be a little bit more consistent. Maybe the inconsistencies in his passive out and out ki might be a little bit more evident. But so far, without purposely setting myself up for failure, if you will, I haven't really noticed it, if I'm being honest. Maybe you could dodge. I mean, you've got dodge in your hidden potential system. He didn't dodge. But should tank this fine, right? 880! One thing I definitely noticed is if you don't get at least his 18 ki where you're getting a defensive raise in slot 2 or slot 3, Goku can definitely take some damage. Definitely take some damage. But one thing I kind of feel, I don't know what side of the fence I'm kind of on with it at the moment. We do have this Goku support kind of being given out right now, which is also very nice. One thing that I haven't actually made my mind up with now is, am I a fan of the 11th anniversary units being definitely very good and a lot of fun to use without pushing the power creep and the power curve too far, like we usually get when it comes to anniversaries, where we get a massive power creep, where a lot of the units we were already using immediately start dropping down the pecking order, some become almost unusable, and the anniversary units are a must have, where in this case, they are a must have, but they're not pushing that curve too far to the point where 98 milli on the EX super attack, by the way. This is Goku's first appearance, so we do have that entrance animation of 400% attack and defense on top of that 140 attack raise we get for 4 turns off the EX super attack. So that damage that he was already doing, definitely doing a whole lot more with that one dupe. 53 milli on the 12 ki. That's another 50% attack raise on top. And then don't forget, we've also raised all allies 40% attack for 2 turns. So this Easy A Goku is going to benefit from it, and so is the following rotation. But as I was saying, I can't tell where I'm sitting between, yes, I like the fact that these anniversary units are very good. They're definitely within the top 10, probably even top 5. Are they top 1 and 2? I don't know just yet. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Where they're not invincible in every single event you take them in, which, do you know what? Compared to what some have said, I do get anniversary units being undisputed 1 and 2. I think I would have preferred that. I do like the fact that, as I said, they're not invincible in every single piece of content. Should they, as anniversary units, be good in every event and form of content that you take them in, which I think for the most part they are, apart from maybe a handful of stages, which I'm not overly opposed with, especially with, you know, the kind of variety of content we do have in the game at the moment. You know, Bio Broly, Cell Max, the Gammas, Rose and Zamasu, etc, etc. I think for the most part, Goku is very good in absolutely all of them. You know, maybe against Bio Broly, taking like over a 20 mil super, probably going to be a bit shaky, but then so is every single unit in the game, unless you counter, nullify, or dodge. The one thing, as I said, that I do agree with and kind of wish that Goku and Vegeta are, which I'm not fully decided on yet, which could definitely change, is the fact that they are definitely 1 and 2. That friend one, by the way, is Rainbow. So that 123 mil, this isn't even this first appearance, is absolutely absurd. That is one thing this Goku does as undisputed #1 in the game, and that is deal insane amounts of damage. Okay, let's get that straight right fucking now. Goku does damage, and I don't think hardly any units in the game come too close to dealing that kind of damage in the game. I think that we can definitely agree on. I would have liked Goku and Vegeta, to be fair, to both be 1 and 2 in the game, which I don't think for certain they are. Again, that could change. But also, I'm okay with the fact, and I actually do like the fact, that even though they are very good, and by the way, they both do a lot for the team, not only is Goku doing tons of damage, defensively very solid, and has a lot of stats, but he's supporting the team so much. You know, he's giving a lot of attack to everyone, you know, making Daima and Goku's family categorized type neutral. On his first appearance, 4% damage reduction. I mean, just 4% damage reduction alone isn't doing a lot. I need you to counter, please. Good stuff. But say for a unit that's got 40, 50, it might make a bit of a difference, but still gives damage reduction. Just gives a ton of support, from the SA effect to the entrance animation, to his built-in support, to his extra built-in support if he's in slot 1. I do like that a lot, and to be fair, both units are giving out a great amount of support to the team. The one thing I'm very concerned with is, because a lot of Goku's power essentially is coming from stats, how much time are we really going to get out of him? How long before he starts to age? Because I feel like compared to other any anniversary unit we've ever gotten, because they are so ahead of every other unit in the game, you know, Vegito, Gogeta. However, the game's power creep kind of kept up because Dokkan just started releasing insane amounts of content, I think, to keep up with them. But then, like, Beast Gohan is another example. How long before SSJ4 Daima Goku starts to show his age? Like, I feel like that's going to come a lot quicker compared to other anniversary units we've got before. But right now, with just one dupe, he's up to 4.3 milli, which is insane. So I'm going to pop his active skill, which I love his active skill conditions, literally starting from turn 4. Like, cannot argue with that. Let me turn the animations back on because, again, these are some of my favorite animations in the whole game. He does a lot of damage on this, which I'm a big fan of. Compared to Vegeta's, his is kind of like a fart in the wind. But he does a lot of damage on this. I do think, again, that all attacks becoming crits. While on the active skill, he'll do a lot of damage, which is great because it gives you guaranteed crit. It means right there, you're going to do a lot of guaranteed damage that's going to guaranteed crit, which is great. However, I would have preferred if he gave something a bit more useful for the team compared to crit, considering how much built-in crit this Goku already has. But I mean, having guaranteed crit on top of the amount of damage that active skill does, I can kind of accept it. 99 mil on that EX super attack off the back of the active skill as well. Don't forget, this is going to be guaranteed crit. And that is another reason why this active skill also works, is because Goku needs a crit to trigger that 77% chance to launch the EX super attack. It makes sense that on his active skill turn, you get a guaranteed EX super and just do a big amount of damage. So at the same time as would have wanting him to give more to the team and doing more on the active, I'm kind of okay with it because it means his active skill just hits like a whole truck. And then also guarantees you a big EX super attack to boot. So the amount of damage he does in his EX super turn on his active skill turn is actually ridiculous. And don't forget as well, he was in slot 1, so we did have 10% damage reduction before attacking. And the rest of the allies, like Goku, like Fizz Ultimate Gohan, will have 40% attack on top of everything else as well. But so far with the dupe, the extra damage is definitely noticeable. But I mean, Goku is already doing crazy amounts of damage to begin with. But again, it's still definitely noticeable. The extra stats is definitely going to help him defensively to go with all the damage reduction and guard. But again, the extra stats will help him defensively, which I'm a fan of. Definitely helps. It's also nice to see that even though it's just one dupe, that extra damage he's doing is noticeable. I'm still on the fence, as I said, about Goku and Vegeta maybe not being undisputed 1 and 2. But again, I'm okay with the balance with where content is in the game right now, to the point where they're not pushing the power curve too far. And Goku just does so much for the team. So I think overall, I think this SSJ4 Daima Goku is just amazing. I think the amount of damage he does is insane. He's got enough defensive capabilities for you to be okay. We have so much variety in terms of content where Goku's going to be fine. Apart from a handful, maybe even one stage where he can get caught, like Bio Broly. But then everyone in that stage can be caught. And it's made for dodge units. It's made for counter and nullify units, which Goku isn't. So if you do have dupes, which of course we now have, those extra stats, but more importantly, that dodge we can give him, or if you've got 2 dupes or rainbowed, that dodge you can give him, even with skill orbs, going to be very important. But I think overall, I think after now using him at 55% twice and now with a dupe, Goku's kind of crazy, I'm not going to lie. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments.